All righty, we're about to get started. So come on in, come on in. Come on in. How are you? So as you come in, let me know who you are. And you know what? Let me just grab my phone really quickly. Hold on one second. All right, there we go. Because I don't want my phone going off while we are in the middle of our session. How's everybody doing? Let me know who you are in the chat. I see we have one person who has logged in. Let me know who you are. And let me know what city you're in. I would love to know that information as well. So let me know your name and what city you are in. Let me see. Let me just put my phone on Do Not Disturb. All righty. So let's get started. Let me know where you're from. So I am Seneca Dunmore. They call me the Pint Size Powerhouse. Funny story how I got that name. This was when I was just starting my motivational speaking business back in 2015. And I was, hey, Ebony in Los Angeles. So nice to have you. Um, I was finishing a conference and I walked off the stage and this young lady came up to me and I still remember her name. Her name is Crystal. And she said, you are a little pint-sized powerhouse. And literally that's how I got that name. So grateful for that name. It definitely describes my personality. So I'm going to give you guys a minute or two and we'll go ahead and get started because I definitely want to be mindful of everyone's time. Hey, Larry from Charlotte. Nice to meet you. So log on in. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm really excited about this because, again, I was just having a wonderful conversation yesterday at the coffee shop with a young lady, and you know how like you meet somebody and they just get it. You're like, oh my God, somebody understands me. Somebody just gets it, because she too is an entrepreneur, and she was an artist and owns her own studio, and she was just saying all of the traction that she's been getting from investors who want to invest in her art studio and who want to commission her to do certain work. And I was so happy to hear that because it reminds me that there's still money out here in this market. There's still tons of opportunity. And so, as we continue to navigate, a declining pandemic, a fractured economy, record inflation, I don't want that to scare any of you. There is still tons of resources out there. Tons of resources. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my screen on presentation mode. And we will get started. And I'm going to be sharing from my Canva, guys. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love Canva. Let me know in the chat if you love Canva as much as I love Canva. Canva is the bomb. I love it. I mean, I don't know what I did without it. All right, guys. So this webinar is all about how I was able to secure $29,000 for my business in 1 month, right? Using the gift of gab. I've always had the gift of communication, articulation, negotiation, right? So I've always been able to use the voice that God has given me to convince other people to give me their money. Okay. And then I'm going to talk about some of the mistakes that you are making in your business that's keeping you from the money you need to grow and scale your business. And remember, guys, business is a team sport. And business is about relationships. Okay. And so we'll talk more about that as we go along. And just so you know, if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you the same pitch deck, the exact same pitch deck that I used to secure the $29,000. Okay. And it was literally just 9 slides. This is it right here. And this, I added on a couple more things to it. So there are 12 slides here, but literally, I think when I pitched, it was only like 9 slides. Okay. So make sure you stay to the end so that you can receive that same pitch deck. And like I said, I secured $29,000 and it was only through 2 investments. I got the #1 bank in the United States, JP Morgan, to fund my conference. So that was for $4,000. And then I ended up meeting an angel investor via LinkedIn and secured another $25,000 investment. And guys, I always tell people I have the receipts, right? So this is a screenshot from my US bank account. And as you see right there at the bottom, right, the $25,000 that was added to my account. Okay. And then, so guys, my name is Seneca Dunmore. They call me the Pine Size Powerhouse. I am an international speaker. I'm an angel investor. I'm a speaker coach, right? I teach individuals how to leverage professional speaking as a primary vehicle to fund their businesses. Okay. I'm a global philanthropist. If you know anything about me, that is my heart's desire. That's my heart passion. I've been to Africa on numerous occasions doing medical missions out there, providing free health care to a lot of the tribes out there. And I tell you, I always tell people you don't know love until you do something for free. And for people who have absolutely nothing to give you in return. Okay. And I absolutely love it. So again, I've been all around the world. Been featured on international and national syndications. But what my favorite title is servant, right? I am a kingdom financier. What is a kingdom financier? God has commissioned me, right, to be a vessel, to be a conduit where financial resources flow. See, he knows that I'm savvy enough to collect the information, to gather the people, right, to galvanize the people in the information and package it and then get it to the people who actually need those resources. Everybody understand where I'm coming from? Okay. So let's keep it going. Another thing, so a little bit about me. So I was born and raised in the southeast side of Houston, Texas, called Sunnyside. Sunnyside was considered the sixth most dangerous neighborhood in America at one point. Drugs were running rampant in our neighborhood. Crime was par for the course, so much so that we were labeled a bad community. But what I realized is that Sunnyside was not a bad neighborhood. Sunnyside was an economically disenfranchised community, right? The results of crime and poverty, all of those things were because we did not have access to the resources that we needed, right? So when you're in survival mode, you'll do almost anything to survive because that's just human nature, right? We want to survive. And so that's the type of community that I came out of. And so that's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do right now in terms of helping people to position themselves for greater economic mobility and inclusion, right? Making sure that they have more than enough resources, because if you have more than enough, you have more to share with other people. And I believe that's one of the reasons why God puts us here, right? We are built for community. And one of the best ways to receive what you want out of life is help others to get what they want out of life. So again, guys, let me show you some of the things that I've done, right? So I've studied at the University of Ghana. That entire trip was paid in full. And the flight alone was $2,600. Okay. I've done medical missions in Rwanda, Angola. One of my favorite countries. Is an incredibly rich country. Guess what? Paid in full. I taught IT courses, right? So if you know me, my master's is in information technology. So I used that, went out to South Africa with a group of women. It was actually 7 of us. And we taught in Darling, South Africa, right? I was teaching some of the technology courses. Guess what? That trip was paid in full. And I've done 3 medical missions in Kenya. 3. Okay. One of my favorite countries of all times. 3 medical missions in Kenya, right? I had all of that paid in full. Now, why do I say that? Because you are your greatest investment. Okay. Not only that, but there's individuals out there that want to share with you, right? They want to help you get to that next level. Okay. Now, here are, right, we're going to do today, we're going to go through 3 things that are keeping you from getting the capital that you need to really grow and scale your business. Number 1, okay, write this down, guys. Number 1, investors want to see proof, not potential. Okay. What do I mean by that? They want to know that you've done it. They want to see evidence of you working towards that thing right? That you say you're good at, the thing that you said, you say lights your fire, the thing that you're most passionate about, the reason why you get up in the morning, the reason why you started your own business anyway, right? Investors want to see proof that it's working. They don't want to see the potential. So let me show you some proof, okay? So in 2020, I was hired by a community nonprofit, right? And this nonprofit was helping individuals coming out of incarceration, okay? And so they hired me to help build a digital literacy program for them. I worked with an amazing grant writer, and together we were able to secure $5.4 million in grant funding for that digital literacy program. Just one program, guys, $5.4 million, and it was for 2 years. 2.7 million for the first year, 2.7 million for the second year. And let me tell you this, guys, we did such a great job the first year that we didn't even have to reapply for the second year. They ended up giving us the funding because we met all of our outcomes. Actually, we exceeded all of our outcomes. And because we had built such great rapport with the grantees, the grantors, right? The individuals who were actually giving us the money, right? They trusted us that we were going to do the right thing again with the 2.7 million, and we did. And we had even greater success the next time, okay? So, again, social proof. Another thing, um, I started a professional speaking business in the middle of a pandemic, right? My coaching business to show speakers how to leverage professional speaking as a primary vehicle to secure funding for their business, and how to teach new and aspiring speakers how to maximize and monetize their speaking business. This was my very first client, right? Joy Jackson of Speaking of Joy. She replaced her corporate salary as an entrepreneur as a speaker now. She coaches, she speaks. She's done a TED talk. She's both domestic and international, right? So clearly, is doing an amazing job. So that's proof. Okay. Another young lady. This is Becky. Becky and I have known each other literally since we were 8 years old. She called me one day wanting to know how to um, become a better speaker, a more confident, compelling communicator, as she labeled it. I ended up creating a whole course around that. And guess what? In less than 8 weeks of being in my program, Becky was able to secure a six-figure contract, all by becoming a confident, more compelling communicator. Right? Again, investors want to see that social proof. They want to see receipts, right? This is another young lady, Janae, incredible young lady, owns her own human capital consulting firm, and she deals in the DEI space. And so she approached me again about um, wanting to become a better speaker. She was already, speaking internationally, moving around the world, but wanted to become a better speaker. And actually, um, the part here, secured a six-figure contract, that's not for her. That was for Becky. But she ended up generating a whole new stream of income via um, just becoming a better speaker. Okay. Here's another young lady who attended one of my events, ended up securing a $10,000 grant. And here's the latest, right? This literally just happened about a month ago. Young lady who attended one of my last events and ended up securing a $5,000 pitch competition. And guys, remember, anything helps. When it comes to accessing capital, right? Anything helps. And let me go ahead and just play this, guys, for you. And this is another young lady who's attended one of my events.
Year called Access Granted. And guess what? It's about to happen again in March. And I am so excited. Listen, this pint sized powerhouse, Seneca Dunmore, has put on an amazing event in past, and she is doing it again. So last year, and I have my notes even from last year, everything was great from top to bottom, the camaraderie, the networking, the food was amazing, and the speakers that she brought in actually had powerful content to share. Everything from alternative business funding with Tanika Stafford, right? It was amazing, to angel investors, Padowitz, who talked about their theses and companies that they typically invest in. There were accountants there and strategists and planners, and it was just so amazing. And then Seneca herself talked about the power of crowdfunding and how you can basically use crowdfunding for anything. And it was a powerful lesson. So since the event, I have gone on to pursue and to win grant funding, which she talked a lot about that as well. And it was just so amazing. And I cannot wait to see what she has in store for us this year. So if you are in the Charlotte area or anywhere close to the Charlotte area, you do not want to miss access granted.
All right. So, and again, this is a young lady who attended two of my events and secured a $10,000 grant. And she's on her way to securing more funding. Okay. So, kudos to her. And again, let me tell y'all, guys, the power of proximity. That same young lady, I actually learned about her through the gentleman who you see in this picture here. This is Abraham J. Williamson. Abraham and I met via LinkedIn, and he told her about an event that I was hosting, and she came. And guess what? They were able to meet each other for the first time at my last event. Now, these are two individuals who only knew each other through LinkedIn. Okay. And that is my second thing. The number two reason why many of you are frustrated with the whole funding process is because you're talking to the wrong people and you're not moving in the right spaces. Let me tell you, if you are not utilizing LinkedIn, you are leaving so much money on the table. LinkedIn is a professional gold mine and a financial gold mine. I can't tell you how many clients and contracts I've been able to secure just using LinkedIn. Okay. And another thing, you want to volunteer where the people with money are. So, oh my God, where are they, Seneca? I'm glad you asked, right? Conferences, trade shows, sporting events. If you can't afford to be at those events, because sometimes they're very pricey, right? National Black MBA Association, Essence, a lot of those conferences, right? Those tickets can be pricey. They can be in the thousands. And guess what? I've attended many of them. It's a great investment. But when I was not in a financial position to do that, guess what I would do? The way I would get into those rooms with those, people who had lots of money, lots of contacts, right? Was I would volunteer. And let me give you a strategy on how I did that. I would volunteer in the morning, okay? And then I would go to the events in the evening where I could actually mix and mingle with those individuals. Because they would always have, some type of, lounge event or something at a bar or a gala or something like that where I could get all dressed up and then I could meet the individuals personally. So that's a great way to do that. Okay. And again, guys, the quickest pathway to financial capital is social capital, meaning you need to be cultivating relationships with the individuals who already have access to the thing that you want and need. So if it's financial capital that you need to be cultivating more social capital with the people who have the financial capital. And again, let me show you the power of that volunteering. This picture is with St. Marshall, who is the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, right? I was volunteering in Vegas in 2018 at the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit and got to meet St. Marshall, incredible human being, by the way. And at that very same conference, right, I was able to meet the senior advisor to U.S. President Barack Obama, Valerie Jarrett. Now, think about how deep their networks are. Okay. Another gentleman, millionaire, best-selling author, investor, speaker, right? Farrah Gray. I believe I met him at that very same conference. I mean, I met some of the most incredible people, millionaires, who I was in the same room with, right? And I did not have to pay for a ticket because I was volunteering. So that's a great way to get yourself positioned and get yourself in front of these individuals who have the financial resources to make it happen. And guess what? A lot of them didn't even know I was a volunteer because it wasn't until I made sure I mixed and mingled with a lot of them after hours after I was done volunteering. Because with volunteering, you can do shifts, right? You can have a morning shift, afternoon shift, evening shift. So I would always take the morning shift so that I could mix and mingle the rest of the day with those heavy hitters. Everybody understanding what I'm saying? Any questions so far? Does anybody have any questions so far? Let me know. Let me know if you have any questions so far. And let me tell you this. I am truly of this mindset, right? If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Cheryl Chisholm said that, right? She actually ran for president at one time of the United States. I don't wait for people to give me an opportunity. I create my own opportunities. Okay. In 2018, I spent the year traveling, doing workshops in different parts of the country, right? LA, New Orleans, Houston, just basically spent the whole year traveling and doing workshops. So I didn't wait for somebody to hire me as a professional speaker. I hired myself and I put myself out there, right? And I went to those different places and marketed myself. You got to remember, guys, business is a team sport. You know, you should be in business for yourself, but you should never be in business by yourself. If you're wanting to grow and scale your business, you need a team of individuals who can help you do that. Okay. And let me just get rid of that one. And let me tell you this, the reason why many of you are frustrated with this whole funding process is because you're talking to the people who signed the back of the check instead of talking to the people who signed the front of the check. What do I mean by that? You're talking to people who don't have the authority to make a decision about where the money is allocated, where the funding is allocated. That's why I'm a huge proponent of LinkedIn, because with LinkedIn, I can go directly to the decision makers. So I have a LinkedIn premium account, right? Where I pay like, $70 a month or something like that. But it's so worth it because guess what? I can send emails and communicate directly with the decision makers. I don't have to go through their secretaries or executive assistants. All right. I don't have to go through, all of this red tape and the gatekeepers. I can send them, direct messaging. It has been a game changer for my business and for my clients' businesses. And let me tell you guys, relationships are the key to advocacy, and advocacy is the key to access. What does it mean? What does it look like to advocate for someone? I'll give you a prime example. When I got that sponsorship from JP Morgan Chase, right? I was invited into that room by a gentleman who worked for Chase, right? Who I had met, weeks prior. He was the one who invited me into the room. And when I pitched my conference, right, and they decided to fund my conference, he was the one on the inside advocating for me, letting them know why they should support what I was doing. That's what I mean by advocating. You need people in spaces, in rooms that you aren't in, right? Talking about you, advocating for you, you know, pleading your cause and why you should get the funding. You know how, like, if you ever go to a bank, try to apply for a loan, right? The person that you talk to is not the person who makes the decision. It's always an underwriter, right? The underwriter is the one who approves or disapproves. But guess what? That person who is now bringing that information to the underwriters can be your advocate if you've cultivated a relationship with that individual. That's why I always tell people you want to cultivate those relationships. If you are banking, if you have a business bank account, you need to have a personal business banker there that you should be meeting with at least minimum once a quarter, telling them, what projects you've got going on, what type of funding you're going to need for the next year, all of that. They should know all that about your business. It shouldn't be a surprise every time you walk into their office. They should know exactly what you're needing, what you're looking for, because guess what? When that money comes across their desk, you're top of mind. They're thinking about you first. Okay? Thank you, Jupiter. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here, Shawnee. Thank you so much. And let me, guys, at any point that you have a question, just throw it in the chat and I'll just toggle back and forth to make sure I address those questions. Okay. But I'm going to keep on going. Now, let me tell you this. Again, we're talking about relationships, right? I have cultivated relationships with some of the top banks here in the United States. One of those being US Bank. How many of you are with US Bank? Any of you? So let me tell you this. US Bank has an access fund of $30 million right now. 30,000 women of color, okay, women owned businesses, micro business owners, that money is being allocated for. And I don't know if I mentioned, but at my last event, I had US Bank represented. So I've been able to cultivate some incredible connections with them. And so this is how I know about these inside things, about the money that's available, because I'm actually talking to the people on the inside. I'm actually working with the managers and the directors. Okay. So if you are a woman of color, there's no reason why you should not be going after this funding. And let me tell you this, a lot of times people are not getting the funding, not because you're not qualified, is because you don't know where the funding is. You don't know how to navigate conversations around, funding. You don't know who to talk to. And more importantly, you don't know how to ask for the money. And let me be very clear, because I want to make sure you guys understand this. You don't have to have it all together. Most people believe, well, Seneca, I can't approach banks because right now I don't have all my information in order. Guess what? Let them show you, let them walk you through the process of getting your things in order. And while you're doing that, guess what you're doing? You're cultivating a relationship. You're building trust and rapport with that individual. And you're showing them that you're committed to the process. So maybe you don't get funding today, but maybe 6 months, 9 months, a year from now, you're eligible for the funding. And guess what they're going to be doing? They're going to be calling you saying, hey, Jupiter, listen, we got your application and we just want to, revisit that conversation about you getting funding. I just saw it happen. I was just with one of my clients, PNC Bank in Atlanta, Georgia, just having a conversation with the VP. And she was just saying how they've been desperately trying to get money in the hands of more Black businesses. And she was saying she's having a problem with them coming in and applying for the funds. And one young lady who did not qualify last year just got qualified for 50,000. Isn't that incredible? Okay. So next thing. So again, so that's just one bank, right? And remember, I told y'all in last year, my conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, I got JP Morgan, the number one bank in the United States, to pay for my event. They were my official sponsors. And you know how I got that funding? Because I asked for it. I knew about the $2 billion that they're looking to deploy to Black, Latina, and women-owned businesses over the next 5 years, right? And I think we're only in year number 3. So there's 2 more years of funding. I think the funding runs out in 2025. So again, they have $2 billion that they're looking to deploy to Black, Latina, and women-owned businesses. There's no reason, if you are Black, Latina, or women-owned, that you should not be asking JP Morgan for those funds. And again, you don't have to come to the table with a 40-page business plan and all of those things, right? If you've got traction in your business, right? You can show that you're running a viable business, right? We can work on those other things that you might be missing to get you the funding. Okay? And JP Morgan is a great client of mine. Love working with them. One more I want to tell you about. Again, remember I was just telling you about PNC Bank, right? How do you find out who has money to give out? Jupiter, that's a great question. Most of the time, I'm doing a ton of research. And what I do, Jupiter, is I don't wait for people to find me. I go to them. I actually go to the banks and ask them about what funding do they have available. And again, that's only one part, right? Because I deal with angel investors, I deal with venture capitalists, and then I also deal with the banks. So I deal with traditional funding and non-traditional funding. But what I do is I engage those individuals. I go to them directly and say, what funding do you have available? I'm just a research junkie. I'm always researching. And so I'll research this information and then I'll go straight to them. I ended up finding out about PNC Bank through LinkedIn, right? Someone in my network introduced me to one of the VPs at PNC Bank. He ended up introducing me to another PNC representative. She's a VP in Atlanta, Georgia. I met with both of them. And that's how I found out about the funding. They told me about the funding. They said, well, Seneca, you know that we have an $88 billion community development initiative. 47 billion of that is allocated towards home lending, real estate, right? 26.5 billion of that is allocated for small businesses. Right? If you're a small business, meaning you make less than $25 million annually, you need to be applying for that funding. Guys, there's $88 billion in that fund, and 26.5 billion is allocated towards small businesses. I've been literally shoveling people over to her because guess what? I have direct access to her. Okay. So again, and those are just three banks that I work with: PNC Bank, US Bank, JP Morgan. They have tons of funding available. And you guys, and you see how we've seen like Silicon Valley and some of the crashes with these other banks. All that is doing is pushing a lot of those new customers into some of these larger banks. So now these larger banks have even more resources to give. Remember, guys, millionaires are made in down economies, not up economies. The most opportune time to ask for money is in a down economy. The most opportune time to build and start a business is actually in a down economy, right? Supply and demand. Supply is low, so demand is high. So there's more demand for the products and services that you're offering. All right. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll make sure I address them. So again, I tell people you got to talk to the people who sign the front of the checks, not the back of the checks. Again, that's why I'm so adamant about finding who are the directors, who are the decision makers who make, the decisions about where that money is being allocated. I seek them out. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you are, struggling in your business to access capital? How many of you have been denied, or maybe you don't know how the process works? You don't know how to get started. You don't know where the funding is, right? You're just like, Seneca, this is, I'm a brand new baby in this world, right? I have no idea. Let me know, let me know where you are in your journey to get funding for your business. Shawnee said, me, okay. Not knowing how to get started, right? And that's a huge problem for a lot of people, Shawnee. So don't feel bad. Most people do not know where to get started because guess what? I don't know about you, but I didn't grow up in schools that had, financial literacy courses. They never taught us how to balance a checkbook or how to open a bank account or how to seek out funding. They never taught us about the stock market or investing or how to grow wealth, right? How many of you got that? Let me know, because I didn't get that growing up in my school system. Hey, Free. So grateful for you. I'm so glad you were able to hop on. So this is my spiritual mother, Free. So glad you're on, Free. So again, absolutely. Most people don't know how to start the process. They don't know where to get started. Okay. And so that is why I'm here. Definitely, we need to know how to get started. I am looking forward to attending Access Granted to learn more. Absolutely. And I'm going to get to that. Thank you, Free. That was a great segue into where I'm going. So again, if all this did was give you, access to a network of wealthy individuals, right? So if everything that I'm talking about, right? If all it did was give you access to wealthy individuals, like, would it be worth it for you? Let me know. Would it be worth it for you? And if the answer was yes, then I want to invite you guys to my third annual Access Granted conference that's going to be happening here in Houston, Texas, June 16th and 17th at the Marriott Marquis downtown. Okay. So my team and I designed Access Granted to basically equip small business owners, entrepreneurs, startups like yourself with the financial education, the capacity building tools, and the funding resources you need to grow and scale your business. We're removing all of those barriers that's keeping you from accessing the capital. And again, one of the biggest barriers that I'm seeing here is that most people just simply do not know where the funding is. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know how to get the process started. And let me show you how to get the process started. What you want to do first is get in the room with the individuals. And guys, let me just tell you about how incredible this lineup is this year. So starting from left to right, right? This gentleman here, Marley, right? And I'm going to circle him with my little arrow here. So Marley is a lawyer, and he has an organization called Simply Structured, right? Where he basically shows people how to structure their businesses. And again, guys, that has a lot to do with maximizing your profits, minimizing your liabilities and taxes, growing wealth, and protecting your assets, right? That is what Marley does. The next gentleman is Williams Bragg, right? He used to be the vice president with Regions Bank. He's with another organization now, but Bragg has managed accounts between 400 million and 2 billion. And that's billion with a B. The first gentleman I just talked about, Marley has managed accounts of 10 billion plus. And you know what I love about these individuals? They look like me. Because growing up, I didn't see, individuals who managed multi-million and billion-dollar accounts, right? They weren't in my neighborhood. They certainly weren't, making any type of, you know, they didn't have any interest of coming to my neighborhood, and for rightfully so. Okay. Then we have um Chris Senegal, who is a real estate developer and investor. So for those of you who are interested in diving into real estate, and again, most of the wealthiest people in the world have their hand in real estate, because guess what? That's the one thing they're not making more of is land. So if you can get a hold of some land, that is one of the best investments you can ever have. Okay, so he will be headlining. Next to him is Abraham J. Williamson, who is a tech startup attorney. He's also a venture capitalist. Amazing young man. You see me there in the middle, right? I'm an angel investor and an international speaker. And this is what I do, right? Showing people how to access capital. I connect founders with funding. Okay, that is my whole platform. I connect people who are starting businesses with people who have the funds to make your business grow and scale. Next to me is Dr. Shantae, incredible young lady out of North Carolina. Dr. Shantae is a venture capitalist, right? She's a impact and venture investor. And then she's also the global CEO of her own organization. Um, and she has locations here in the United States as well as Africa. So Black Pearl Global Investments, right? So she's all about investing. This is the lady you want to know. Okay. Next to her is one of her clients. This is Adonis Lockett. Adonis Lockett is also a real estate investor. And right now he's actually building $100 million fund. And I think he's already at 60 million. So if you're interested in real estate or already in real estate and you need funding for your new real estate projects, existing real estate projects, that's the man you want to talk to. Next to him is Pedro Moore. Pedro Moore is the venture capital advisor for Damon John, the same Damon John you saw on Shark Tank, right? FUBU, you know, multi-million billionaire. Okay. And then next to him is Polly. Polly deals in wealth management. Now, guys, I'm telling you, I have a stellar lineup of individuals coming to you who are going to be showing you how to access the capital that you need to grow and scale your business. And again, you want to get in the room with them. That is the power of proximity. You need to be in the room with those individuals. It's not enough to just, again, you don't need to figure this out on your own. For most of you, you don't know how the process works. These are the individuals who will walk you through the process, who will help you expedite your journey to revenue, who will help you expedite your journey to funding, because they already have a blueprint, a proven successful blueprint. Okay. Now, let me talk about what you're going to get if you do sign up to to come to the Access Granted Conference, right? You get a welcome package from me and other sponsors, right? Which is valued at $45. You also are going to receive an exquisite 3-course dining experience valued at $100, right? So, and I don't know if you guys have ever eaten at the Marriott Marquis. The food is incredible. Okay. We're going to have a cocktails in the courtyard business networking event, and that's valued at $158. You get 30-day access to my monetized LinkedIn e-course. Remember, I told y'all, most of the investors that I've ever met, most of the banks that I associate with and do business with, most of their representatives I met through LinkedIn. Many of my biggest contracts, many of my most lucrative and premium clients have come through LinkedIn. And guess what? I'm giving you 30-day access to my monetized LinkedIn where I'm going to show you exactly, right? And it's an online course, so it's self-paced. So you can do it on your own time. And it's going to show you how to monetize your LinkedIn. Listen, guys, if you're not making money on LinkedIn, you are doing it all wrong. Okay. How many of you guys are making money on LinkedIn? Like you actually have clients, people who are investing in you, your programs, your services, your products, whatever the case may be, whatever you're offering as a business owner. If you don't have people investing in you via LinkedIn, you're doing something wrong. Okay. Now, again, you get access to all the keynote and breakout sessions the day of conference. So all of those individuals that I just named, here they are again. Again, you get a cocktails in the courtyard networking event. And let me tell y'all why that's so important. Some of my best deals I've secured over cocktails, over coffee, on the golf course, over dinner. Most of the time, that's where the deals are made. Most people think, oh, it happens, in a boardroom, in an office, in a corporate office. No, most deals aren't made there. So that's why it's so important to mix and mingle with the individuals that have access to the resources that you need. Right? Comfortable setting, everybody's, letting their hair down, relaxing a little bit, much easier conversation. Okay. Any questions? Right? Again, you get the three-course dining experience. So you get salad, entree, and dessert. And this is the best part, guys. For those of you who want to come, but maybe you're financially strapped, right? I do understand. We are just coming out of a global pandemic. We're still dealing with record inflation. Housing prices are still high. Money might be tight. I literally made a phone call to PayPal because I've been a loyal customer of them for years. Most of my events I run through PayPal. So guess what? I said, listen, I want to offer my people a buy now, pay later plan to make it easier for them to attend my conference this year. And they agreed. So now, if you don't have the funding right now, you can do the buy now, pay later option. And let me show you how easy these options are, guys. Incredible. You can pay in four, right? You can do one payment down, and then all you have is three more to go. You can split those purchases between $30 and $1,500 into four interest-free bi-weekly payments without the hassle of late fees. So again, if you do the priority access ticket, right, where you get the welcome package for $45, an exquisite three-course dining experience, which is valued at $100, a cocktails in the courtyard business networking experience at $158, a 30-day access to my monetized LinkedIn course, right? All access to the keynote and breakout sessions. Guys, the total value of this package is $1,997. $1,997. And guess what? I'm offering it now for only $497. Okay. And let me tell you, some of the people that I'm bringing in, you can't even get on their calendar for less than that. Okay. So again, you can do the pay in four, or you can do pay monthly. You can do 6, 12, or 24-month payments, zero down, and no sign up or late fees. It's literally a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Because you have to ask yourself, what is it costing me not to know the people? What is it costing me not to get in proximity to these financial individuals and these investors? Okay, what is it costing you? Is it costing you your peace of mind? Is it costing you time with, valuable time with your family and friends and loved ones? If it's costing you all that, guess what? That cost is too high. And let me tell you something. One of the things I know, and I live by this, if you're interested, you'll do what is convenient. But if you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes. Let me tell you why it's so important to make the investment up front. When I became an international speaker back in 2016, remember, I left my corporate job in 2014, started my motivational speaking business in 2015. And by 2016, I was international. But let me back up and tell you how I became international so quickly. I found out about a speaking conference in Delaware from a young lady who was already a multimillionaire in her speaking business. She was hosting a conference. The conference was $4,000, guys. $4,000. People thought I was crazy for paying that much money for a conference. You know why I did it? Because it accelerated my journey. So now I didn't have to figure out how to, navigate the speaking space. I didn't have to find, I didn't have to wreck my brain on trying to figure out how to price myself, how to, how to advocate for myself, how to charge what I was worth, right? I learned all of that. And so I literally, in less than a year of her conference, became an international speaker. I have people who started with me in the business, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, who still have not gone international. And I've been to 45 countries, guys, plus 45 plus countries, and many of them multiple times. I've been to London 22 times. I've been to Dubai 5 times. I've been to South Africa 3 times. I've been to Kenya 3 times, right? So not only have I been to these countries, I've been to them multiple times. And again, we are going to show you how to access the capital that you need to grow and scale your business. Now, again, we're only accepting 100 individuals. And so if you are looking to join us, oh, okay, sorry about that, guys. Okay, here we are. We're back. So again, if you are in the Houston or surrounding areas, or if you're not in Houston, right? Because at my last conference, I had most of the individuals who were in that room flew from other places. I had people come in from Miami. I had people coming from Dallas, from Arizona, from Texas, right? Who were all in Charlotte, North Carolina for my conference. And again, I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat here. So youraccessgranted.com/tickets. And when you click on that link, right, you can see now, again, I'm only talking about the general admission because for most of you, I just want you to be able to get in the room. If you're interested in some of the higher ticket items, let me know. I'd be more than happy to have that conversation and let you know what comes in those packages as well. But this one gets you in the door. This one gets you talking to the individuals, mixing and mingling, right? Learning all the information that you need to take your business to the next level, right? To get the funding that you need. So right now, for those of you who are interested, I'll go ahead and take some questions, and then you can click on that link to purchase your ticket. And again, we're only taking 100 people in that room. And it's funny because tickets are going fast, and most of the tickets are by men, which is so interesting to me. And it's funny because at my last conference, it was about 65% men, about 35% women. And I guess, because this is a heavily male dominated area when it comes to funding, right? Venture capitalists and angel investors and that whole funding space, it's a heavily male dominated space. So I guess that makes a lot of sense. So I am ready to take your questions. What questions do you have for me about the conference, about, what you learned here today? Is there any clarification that I can offer? Any questions that I can answer for you right now? I am listening. Any questions? And I'm going to play some music while I have you guys here. Questions, questions. I am ready, guys. Give me your questions. I'm happy to answer them. Let's see. What do I want to listen to today? Any questions? Can't wait to have you free. I guess you say. What questions do you guys have? Don't be shy because somebody else is probably thinking the same thing. Business. Me feel this way, my girl. All right. I'm waiting on your questions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fortune or fame. One man. Any questions? Any questions? All right, guys. So I will send you the link. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here, but I will send you the link so that you can make purchases if you choose to attend the Access Granted here in Houston, Texas, June 16th and 17th. And it's going to be a phenomenal conference, right? If you want to know where the funding is, how to access it, right? And you want to speak directly to the funders themselves, you need to be in attendance. Okay. So again, you guys should find me on LinkedIn. Please send me a DM. I answer my own DM, so I'd be happy to speak directly with you. And I am signing off. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.